You know, we talk about empathy like it's this amazing superpower, right? The power to connect with people, to understand them, to heal. But what if that superpower had a hidden cost, a side effect nobody really talks about? That's what we're diving into today, the 7 silent struggles of the deeply empathetic person. We're going to look at the psychology behind why feeling everything so deeply can be this incredible gift, but also a really heavy weight to carry around.
I mean, from the outside, it totally looks like a superpower. You know, the person I'm talking about, the friend who just gets it, who always knows what to say, the colleague who can walk into a meeting and instantly read the room. Yeah, we see empathy as this fundamental part of being a good, kind human being.
Right, so people just assume you're a natural healer, that you're always kind, and that you navigate relationships with total ease. The perception is that you're this effortless master of social situations. You're the go-to person, the emotional rock for everyone. But that's just not the whole story. It's like seeing the perfect Instagram feed, but not the messy reality behind it.
So what is that hidden cost? Well, for the people who actually live this way, this intense wiring comes with some pretty serious challenges that just don't get talked about. Because it's not just about being nice. No, it's a completely different and frankly, an often exhausting way of experiencing the entire world.
All right, so let's pull back the curtain. We're about to get into those internal battles. You know, the quiet, draining stuff that happens when everyone else has gone home and you're just left there with the emotional echoes of the day.
And psychology actually gives us a map for this. It's identified 7 very specific struggles that deeply empathetic people report over and over again. So we're not just going to list them, we're going to look at how they all connect and create this really unique and often challenging inner world.
So first, let's start with the internal stuff, the sheer weight of it all. Think about the cognitive and emotional load that comes from being tuned in to everyone else's frequency, like 24/7. This right here, this is the foundation for all the other challenges we're going to talk about.
Okay, first up, emotional contagion. This one is absolutely critical to understand. For a deeply empathetic person, your brain doesn't just see someone else's pain from a safe distance, it absorbs it, and you can't stop it. It's like you don't just see their storm cloud, you get soaked by their rain.
And yeah, there's a psychological term for this, emotional contagion. It's a real recognized thing where your own nervous system literally starts to copy the emotional state of the person you're with. And I want to be super clear here. This is not a choice. It's a deep, physical, gut-level response.
So what's the result of all this? Well, you end up carrying emotional weight that isn't even yours. You're carrying the anxiety from your coworker, the sadness from your friend, maybe even the stress from a story you saw in the news. It's like being a sponge that you can never, ever fully wring out. So is it any wonder this leaves you feeling just heavy and completely exhausted?
All right, so on top of that heavy emotional load, you've got this intense mental one. This brings us to struggle number 2, analysis paralysis. Because you're so tuned in, your mind is always, and I mean always on. It's analyzing every little detail in every interaction. You're not just having a conversation, you're also directing it, producing it, and reviewing the tapes, all at the same time.
So while other people can just have a conversation and move on, for you, the post-game analysis is just getting started. You're replaying every tiny micro-expression in your head, their tone of voice, that split-second hesitation, the look in their eyes, and you're just asking yourself over and over, did I say the right thing? What do they really mean by that? It makes it so hard to just relax and be in the moment.
Okay, this third one. This is where your empathy gets tangled up with the massive pressure you put on yourself. It's this feeling of maladaptive perfectionism. See, you don't just want to be a good friend or a helpful person. You feel this crushing responsibility to be the perfect helper every single time. And if you're not, it feels like a total personal failure.
And that's what psychologists call maladaptive perfectionism. The key word there is maladaptive, right? This isn't the healthy kind of perfectionism that pushes you to do your best. No, this is an unhealthy, rigid belief that basically sets you up to fail. The inner voice isn't saying, I'll try my best to help. It's saying, if I don't fix this for them perfectly, then I have failed.
And here's the kicker. This mindset doesn't actually make you a better friend or a better person. All that relentless pressure, it leads straight to burnout and this constant, nagging feeling of never being good enough. It's a cycle that just grinds you down.
Okay, so you can see how all this internal stuff, the emotional contagion, the overanalyzing, the perfectionism, it all just builds and builds. So what happens next? Well, eventually that pressure has to go somewhere.
It starts spilling outward and really starts to affect your social life, creating this deep sense of disconnect from everyone around you.
And this leads us to number 4, the struggle with small talk. And man, this one can feel incredibly isolating. Because you're wired to pick up on all the deep, unspoken stuff, those surface-level chats about the weather or what you did last weekend can feel just hollow, almost painful. You're desperate to dive into the deep end, but most of the time, you're stuck splashing around in the shallows.
It's like this. Your whole being is geared for deep connection, talking about core feelings, abstract ideas, what's really going on under the surface. But so much of the world operates on that surface level, just small talk and daily updates. And that constant mismatch, it's more than just frustrating. It can make you feel completely misunderstood and alone, even when you're surrounded by people.
All right, number 5 is another one of those classic gift and a curse situations. You're hyper-aware of hidden motives. Your brain is just incredible at spotting patterns, so you pick up on everything other people seem to miss. The tiny bit of negativity in someone's tone, the insincerity behind a compliment, the tension in a room that you could cut with a knife. You don't just hear the words, you feel the subtext.
And let me tell you, it's like your brain sees every hidden motive. Constantly reading the room at that intense level is just so draining. Sure, it can keep you safe sometimes, but it's also incredibly lonely to be the only person who sees what's really going on, the only one who feels that gap between what someone is saying and what they're actually feeling.
Number 6 is about the pressure to always perform. See, people can sense your empathy. They're drawn to it. And over time, you can get kind of typecast into a role, right? You become the official listener, the group's problem solver, the one who always has space for other people's problems. It's like you're expected to perform empathy 24/7 on demand.
And this pressure is a trap. First, people start relying on you to be the listener. Then you feel this pressure to not just listen, but to fix how they're feeling. But here's the real kicker. What happens when you need a break? When you're totally drained? It doesn't just feel like you're tired. It can trigger this nasty case of imposter syndrome, where you start to question everything, like, am I even as caring as people think I am? Or am I a total fake?
Okay, I know. We've talked about the internal weight, the social disconnect. It all sounds pretty overwhelming, right? So after going through all these struggles, what's the solution? The most important thing to know is that the goal isn't to get rid of your empathy. It's about learning how to manage it so it doesn't end up managing you.
The way forward really boils down to 2 key things. First, you've got to acknowledge your gift. Seriously, you have to reframe this. Your mind isn't broken. It's a high-performance engine. But like any high-performance engine, it needs the right fuel and regular maintenance. And that leads to step 2. You have to set boundaries. This is about protecting your energy. A boundary can be as simple as saying, I can talk about this for 15 minutes, but then I need a break. Or making sure you have quiet time scheduled after a big social event. This isn't selfish, okay? It's essential strategy.
And I want to leave you with this last thought, because it really gets to the core of everything we've talked about. You're not too much. You just feel deeper than most. If any of this sounded familiar today, please know that the weight you carry isn't a sign that you're broken or too sensitive. It's proof of your depth. So the challenge was never about learning how to feel less. The real challenge and the real opportunity is figuring out how to build a life that actually honors your gift and turns that intense sensitivity from a silent struggle into your absolute greatest strength.